Okay, wonderful. My familia, right? Okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. I'm so fucking tired. I couldn't think of anything creative for this intro. Mia familia, right? That's the tattoo everybody seems to get. But we are continuing onwards with fundamentals practice. Artwod grind nodes. ARTWOD, link in description. They're the reason I've gotten anywhere near as good as I have. Right? They're responsible, I'd say, for 90% of my skill growth. Right? All because I've been following their program, which is the fundamentals of form, perspective, all that shit. So yeah, give them money and then give me money, I guess, something like that. But yeah, I'm very tired. I had my trip for those who are fans, I guess. I went on my little Canada Day trip with my friends over the weekend. But right now we're doing the Artwad grind nodes. Grind nodes. And this one is draw 20 planes in 1 point perspective, all sharing the same vanishing point. I'm just trying to establish. And draw along, right? If you're new to my channel, draw along, right? If you're entertained by my drawings, cool, whatever. But primarily, if you're someone who's looking to get better, draw along. Genuinely, like whatever you are doing, draw along. Think very hard, right? Focus on form, perspective, line quality, all that shit, and let's have some fun, right? Let's enjoy the process. So, yeah, okay. I'm just trying to think where I should make the vanishing point or the horizon line. It's already a bit cluttered, as you can see in the back, because this is what I did previously. But perhaps it's best that I just do it right in the center, right? It's fucking hard to draw a straight ass line. Obviously, I don't really use my shoulders, so it makes sense. There you go. That's relatively straight, right? I think it is. I think it's definitely leaning down a bit on the right, but oh Jesus, yeah, but should be fine. Now, where should we make our vanishing point? Should I just follow the example given? I'm obviously gonna make it much more difficult than the example given, anyways. But I guess yeah, for the time being, let's just put it right in the center, roughly. Yeah, there you go. That is our vanishing point. This is 1 point perspective, right? So not too difficult, but I want to make it difficult, right? So we're just supposed to be drawing planes in any perspective. So right now I could literally just start with something like that, right? And I want to actually add a decent amount of difficulty to this. You can probably tell what I'm doing already, which is, and this is actually really good for practicing my parallel lines as well, because obviously 1 point perspective is very parallel. There's only one vanishing point after all. And again, this is going to be great for practicing my convergences, like thinking about my convergences, visualizing everything, right? So yeah, 1 point perspective, extremely difficult if you make it difficult enough, right? And then we can have something like this. Nope, that is incorrect. That is an error. Error? Fuck. But yeah, I haven't drawn properly. I drew for maybe a couple hours over the past this Canada Day weekend, right? Drew for an hour yesterday with my girlfriend. Drew for an hour on the trip, that 3-day trip. Really only drew for like 45 minutes an hour. So yeah, it's good because now I can get back to really grinding my brain. And yeah, again, it's just saying draw 20 planes. What I'm doing, as you can see, is drawing 20 planes that have little subtractions or additions, right? I'll obviously do additions as well, but just plain additions and subtractions. This already is much more difficult and forces me to zoom out, right? Which is what I want to do. I want to zoom out. and I want to be able to visualize the line itself to the best of my ability, because it's very difficult, of course. Yeah, and that's why I need to be able to see the entire page. And actually, I like the fact that these ellipses in the background are obstructing that attempt, because that means I need to be even better. And this is why one thing Drawbox that I like that it promotes a lot is, even though I'm not doing Drawbox, a lot of things, again, I don't think Drawbox is really good when it comes to actually practicing perspective, but I do think it's really good when it comes to explaining perspective. And okay, see, that was really off too, because that's going all the way over there now. And how it comes to practicing perspective, and how it promotes good line quality, because really good line quality is what makes pieces stand out, right? Pieces, by stand out I mean in terms of just proficiency. Like, we want to have clean lines. There you go. Yeah, my line work is really shoddy right now, so it's good that I'm doing this. Really, really good practice. And the thing is, like, in this grind node, one of the examples they've given is that we can just have a front facing plane. Honestly, I don't know if I want to do that. That's actually really, really simple, right? I'm trying to avoid simplicity for the time being. You know, we're trying to make things much more difficult than they need to be, because I'm trying to be perfect, right? I'm literally trying for perfection. So again, this is where foreshortening can come into play, because I could do something like, and then now we have there you go. See, this could literally be a sidewalk or a road, even, right? Literally, it could genuinely be a road. In fact, I can even, just to really drive that point home, show you how it could be divided in that sense, right? And again, really kind of focusing on line quality as well. It's the only way to ensure that everything makes sense. You know, you want to think about all the lines. And now I'm getting to the point where I'm slowly focusing on thinking about all the lines. And by the lines, I mean the grid lines, right? It's extremely difficult, which is why you need to always have this sort of vague little zoomed out view in your mind while you draw. Like, I need to be, while I'm drawing this line, in the back of my mind, I need to have the entire context of why and where the line is being drawn and placed down, right? Like, the line, essentially the lines I'm putting down, the way I'm doing it, so hopefully this explanation helps, but the way I'm doing it is, while I'm putting the lines down, I'm literally, in whichever way I'm capable of visualizing, whether it's in my mind, whether it's on the page, whether it's a combination, right? It's all particular to the individual and how we personally visualize things, right? It doesn't just have to be a picture in your mind or anything like that, but visualization is more so just a it's just a visual representation. That, I guess, is the best way to put it, right? And an individual's particular like visual representation can be brought about in many different ways. But mine is just this vague, not vague, but this idea in my mind of where the line should be, and then an attempt to reinforce that on the page simultaneously while putting the line down, right? So I hope that makes sense. But the TLDR is just visualize the grid lines in whichever way that you must, right? And it's extremely difficult, okay? Don't worry, like, it's extremely, extremely difficult. So you are not, there's no shock or surprise there. Like, don't worry about that. If you are, you know, you shouldn't, don't be surprised, because it's very, very difficult, which is why, again, I'm all about expending energy, right? Expend cognitive energy, all that shit I always say. It's because it's very difficult. And again, I'm trying to think about the lines as well. And while I did this, I tried to think about like while I'm putting this line down, I'm trying to keep the entire scope in mind. Now I know, now that I put this down, I know that's off. Because look at that. It's going here. This should have been going more like that. So that's an incorrect line that I can't change now. And that's why we draw with pen, because it reinforces that. See, I'm correcting it now a little bit, but pen reinforces the need to make mistakes. Yes, making mistakes is a need, right? You don't learn by not making mistakes. So you technically you should actually be very what's the best way to put this? You should be very excited. Yeah, you should be very excited when you make mistakes. Because a mistake is an indication that you have room for growth. If you're not making mistakes, there's no growth, right? So make mistakes, and the ability to recognize mistakes. It's the same shit I'm always saying, but again, in a different package, right? Something like that. You see, I'm trying to make it more complicated, because I don't want to make simple planes right now. I don't need to anymore. I'm past that. I'm literally past that, right? But these grind nodes are amazing because you can take that simple concept, draw 20 planes in 1 point perspective, and then just go off and be like, okay, like, how can I make this even more difficult for myself, right? Which is what we're doing right now. How can we make this more difficult for myself? At the end of the day, we want to be able to see the grid lines everywhere on the page, so absolutely no worries there. Right? I'm just constantly thinking this is off too. Now that I know, like, again, I want to ghost, but I also want to see it more in my mind, because it's about bringing or building intuitive perspective, right? We're building intuitive perspective. We're not building perspective that is perfect. We're aiming for perfection, but by proxy of aiming for perfection, we are building a very strong intuition, right? And how do we aim for perfection? Just by trying extremely hard. Art is truly just your mind. You're essentially building your mind, the skill to see with your mind, right? And however you see, right? However you see. Because aphantasia does exist. I don't think it exists to the degree that people say or believe it does, because it's a skill at the end of the day, right? If you are skillfully, or if you are poorly skilled at building a visual representation of something in your mind, you're not going to be able to suddenly be incredible at it within a matter of months, right? As one of my recent thumbnails it says, a visual library requires only one thing, a visual library. So keep that in mind. I swear I must be a narcissist, because I was just watching my Q&A yesterday and I was having a grand old time. I was like, oh, this guy's hilarious. somebody should give him money, right? But I'm also, while I'm doing this, I'm also practicing my lines. Oh, see, it curved down. That's a poor line, and that's an error. You can choose to have, and the thing is, it is a choice. You can literally choose to have the feeling of damn or the feeling of awesome, right? I guess in simplified terms. And the neuroscience behind it is, the more we tell ourselves these mistakes are good, the more our brain is able to recognize these errors and course correct them, right? And that's why you want to build your eye. You always want to be able to see your mistakes more than you make as much as you always want to be able to see, you always want to be able to see your mistakes, so when you do make these errors, you're actually making the learning process more efficient, right? We always want our eye to be more adept at recognizing the flaws that we make, because that's actually going to help in the learning process, right? Because if error correction is pivotal, if error recognition and then feeling elation from that recognition and performance, and then is pivotal to the correction process, then to me it makes sense, just purely from a scientific point of view, that we should do our best in whatever we're learning right now to understand how essentially the pinnacle of that skill, right? Like I know from all the shit I've been looking at and learning from all these people who are really, really good at perspective, the names I've said before, right? Kim Jong-il, Karl Kapinski, the way Antonio teaches from artwod, which is what this is, all these people, it just comes down to the grid, the grid, the grid, the grid. So what does that mean? It just means spamming perspective and then just seeing all these lines going towards the grid, right? Just seeing it in my mind. Is this perspective? No. Why? Because the lines are poor, there's inconsistencies, right? But the thing is, those inconsistencies you may not be able to see, but because I've done this so much and because I'm constantly trying to make it quote unquote perfect, and I've done my best to analyze perfection in that sense, right? Like think about how would it be that I'm able to see the slight mistakes, and that's only going to train my brain even better. But I'm going to rest my brain, and that is something I do. If you're new to this channel, gap effects are very important towards expediting the learning process. So I'm going to perform that, and I suggest you rest your brain as well. Thank you. Goodbye. But yeah, guys, it's all about the grid. In the simplest or the most complex ways, it's all about form. Form. There's nothing to it. Like the core fundamentals, right? There's a lot to art, but, and I agree with Antonio because this is what he says, and I'm just parroting what he says, right? You can get very, very far through just having an incredible understanding and application of form. And this way, I'm trying to practice proportion too. I probably haven't done the best job because these were just random, but I'm going to try to think about proportion as well now as I create this, because, and this will actually really help me work on the grid as well, because look, now that I'm putting these lines preemptively, I have to think about where they should be, right? I have to visualize how this should all be looking. And that is incredibly difficult. Because look at this, I'm thinking about essentially 3 different cross sections of lines. This way, actually no, 2. This way and this way. Still difficult, still very difficult, right? Because again, it's not just going in a random direction. This is already off perspective, and maybe these are as well, but intuition is what I'm focusing on right now. So intuition is what I will continue to focus on. Again, quote unquote perfect intuition, right? And again, ghosting will help with that. Of course it'll help with that. And I didn't want to draw today at all. Back from my vacation, I'm a bit tired, blah, blah, blah. This is incorrect. I should have made this way more slanted. It's not going towards the vanishing point properly anymore. So this will have to make up for it. And we'll go in this angle because this is the angle I struggle with the most when it comes to drawing, right? It's always about doing things that are difficult. If it doesn't, there's this one quote, because I go to LA Fitness, and there's this one, they have like a bunch of quotes on their walls and shit. And you know, it's nice, it's motivational, but especially with my recent mindset changes, there's this one quote that's really been resonating with me, which is very simple and very true, but it's just, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you, right? We see this shit everywhere, but I feel as if, at least for me, if I don't have a grounded, scientific, right, logical reasoning as to why thinking positive, thinking in terms of a growth mindset, focusing on the process, like if that why we need to do that, right? And the why is simple. That's the most efficient way for the brain to learn. You know, once you realize that's literally the most efficient way for the brain to learn, well then throw away your feelings, bro. Like literally throw away how you feel about that. Because if the science is saying, okay, just gaslight yourself into enjoying the process, right, into enjoying errors and all that stuff, then why would we not do that? You know, why would we simply not trust in enacting that whole process? You know, that's the way I see it. Is if there's a grounded explanation for why it works, I'll just do it. You know, not perfectly and amazingly, but I'll do my best to do it. right? Even now, the skill I'm building is literally fucking talking and explaining and rambling while I'm thinking about the damn grid lines. That's very difficult. I'm also trying to make it even. So 1, 2, 3 horizontals, 1, 2, 3 verticals for now. Cool. Do another horizontal here, right? And again, like another skill I'm really trying to focus on is no matter where, especially for this right here, is okay. Now that I'm here, I should already be envisioning what the grid lines specific to what I'm drawing here should look like. And I want to think of some interesting patterns. I wanted to make this even more difficult by adding diagonal lines and all that stuff, but now I realize that it's probably best to just start simple, right? Maybe I can do another page of this, because this is great perspective practice in general, and everybody needs good perspective practice. I'm also shuffling my hand around a bunch because I don't know. I'm trying to see the fucking horizon line, but I guess because right now, the vanishing point, and right now my hand's covering it. So cool. There, something like that, right? And we need to, there you go, maybe something like that. Oh, that's overshooting. That's for sure overshooting. Yeah, see? I knew it. I was overshooting by a couple, like maybe like 10 millimeters. And why don't we just make this all straight, I say, as it's the most fucking wonky straight line in the world. And then oh, that's also wrong. That's completely wrong. What the fuck? That's going here. So that's, again, mistake, which is very good. And then yeah, these are all undershooting. For sure, they're really not ideal whatsoever, but that's how we learn, right? I've essentially practiced enough, just the skill of changing your mindset. Well, yeah, the act of changing your mindset is a skill. So I've practiced many times over the past year and a half after learning about this whole thing, about the gap effect, how to learn, focusing on the effort, focusing on errors, right? All that shit. Just type in best way to learn skills or some shit. Andrew Huberman, anything to do with skill learning, he talks about this shit. And this is why even the skill that I'm learning now, and I've practiced now, and I've consistently tried to retain now, is the skill of deriving enjoyment from these errors that I continue to make, right? Because telling myself this is a positive thing is what's going to lead to efficient learning. Is it true? Maybe, maybe not, right? Science, much of scientific literature seems to point that it is true, but that's the thing. It's not, there's no point in thinking too deeply about it. You learn it, you believe it, because it's only beneficial to you, right? Of course, we can genuinely break it down and be like, okay, this is a very legitimate way to learn. This is actually great for you, but you just have to look into Carol Dweck as well, right? Yeah, just look into Carol Dweck. Okay, so that cut off a little bit, but still getting better, right? We've established a decent perspective so far, and that's not too bad. But yeah, look into Carol Dweck. You know, none of what I'm saying is bullshit whatsoever. But I'm saying, even if it were to be bullshit, does it not make sense that if this is beneficial towards the learning process, right, and just for our own mental health and clarity, would it not make sense to simply believe it anyways, right? And to focus on it, and to, you know, work towards just having a good mindset around art anyways. Like, that's the thing I think about it. It just, even if it isn't true, which it is, but even if it isn't true, what benefits me in thinking negatively or not enjoying the process? You know, now that there's supposed, and I use the word supposed air quotes lightly because it's not supposed, but even if it were to be a supposed way to learn efficiently, believe it, right? It's efficient. So even in the worst case scenario, even if what I'm saying about how to learn efficiently isn't true, it still benefits us to believe it and to behave that way, because at the very least we still end up enjoying the learning process and the act of trying, you know, and growing. So yeah, that's the way I think about it. It does you no benefit, and that's the thing, mindsets can be changed, right? So you literally can gaslight yourself into enjoying something, and it's actually crazy. It's fucking amazing how the brain can do this shit. Okay, so this is going pretty decent. Oh, okay, I'm gonna do something a bit more complicated. This is great because this will help me focus on my lines as well, which, as you can see, are suffering quite a bit. See, I struggle with that. Okay, yeah, and I misconnected that. Cool, cool, right? Just intuitive perspective, but with the aim of perfect perspective, right? Build strong intuition by aiming for perfection, and um, internalize perfection in terms of your ability to see, right? So you always have something to strive for, right? That's why I always look at examples of the greats, the greatest people at perspective. Even Marshall Van Druff, right? He's incredible at perspective. The things I see him do and how he explains it, right? Whether he uses the ruler or not, the point is we're constantly understanding what quote unquote perfect grid lines, perfect perspective 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 looks like. So we're just building, we're holding the output to a standard. So when we don't reach that standard, A, we feel good, B, we know what more to strive for. It's just a constant positive feedback loop of satisfaction with the process while still seeking growth to a standard that you have established through chasing that standard, right? That very high standard, you know, online, books, whatever, right? Just understanding what makes good perspective, good art. That's the way I approach it. You should do it like me if you want to improve. And give me money. All right. To be honest, I don't think I'm saying anything controversial at all. Enjoy art. That's basically what I'm saying. But I've decided to break it down very, very, very autistically in terms of quote the neuroscience approach for myself. This isn't even for anybody watching particularly, right? A lot of the advice I give is just to my younger self, i.e., me 2 years ago, right? Because that's something that I'm just, it's repetition. The more you repeat something to yourself, the more you understand it, right? That's all I'm doing, is I'm just continually repeating what I am doing to you, and by proxy me. And that's also very good because it reinforces what I do understand and what I need to understand, right? Like right now, I'm just going to reinforce the fact that I'm thinking about the grid and deriving enjoyment from my mistakes. And that is what's reinforcing or ensuring that I do so. I'm pretty sure this entire thing is a giant mistake. But again, the mistake I'm talking about and the mistakes you see are going to be very different because I am advanced enough in perspective to see the extremely minute mistakes. But you probably see it as well, to be honest. You probably, even like this, you realize that this is an error, right? It's not so difficult to perceive. And this is a great exercise in being consistent with our proportions, right? And this is going to be great for line work practice as well, because that's basically what I was trying to do, is create really, really thin, fucky lines. There you go, see? Now, because the lines aren't the best, the consistency is lost on this shape, right? But the attempt is there, and that's all that matters. And there's a lot of mistakes. Even this isn't aligned over here. This isn't aligned over here. This isn't even properly horizontal. This is definitely not aligned over here, right? Millions of mistakes, and that is perfecto. And with that being said, I'm gonna rest my brain. Give me a minute. Not a minute. That's way too fucking long. Just 15 seconds. I'll be right back. Okay, and another thing I want to reiterate to myself as well as anybody still listening or watching at this point is if your lines do not look like this, that is normal, okay? I am quote unquote advanced beginner when it comes to perspective, right? Still very beginner, but advanced beginner in the sense that I can do this with more ease, I guess, right? I have a more intuitive understanding and I can visualize the grid much better, you know? But I have at least 400 pages of not just this, but a lot of perspective, boxes, cylinders, imagining the grid, horizon line, all that shit, making clusters and all that stuff. I have hundreds of pages, okay? And in the beginning, the first 6 months, it is extremely difficult to imagine to everything I'm doing right now. This would take 6 months of consistent practice to probably look even say like 60% as good as this, right? Because visualizing a line in your mind or in your mind's eye or whatever, how you visualize, that is going from here to here, right? That just even this distance is already hard, right? But then you go more and more. Like the further you are, the more difficult it is to visualize. Visualizing that line takes immense cognitive effort. Placing the line while visualizing it also takes immense cognitive effort. On top of that, you have to make sure your lines are clean, which takes immense physical and cognitive effort to ensure that your hand-eye coordination is good. Do you see what I'm saying? This is very difficult. Do not be discouraged by the difficulty because it will always be extremely difficult. Just what you're focusing on, likely if you're a true beginner, is different than what I'm focusing on. For me, the difficulty comes from visualizing every single fucking line possible while putting these lines down. And because I'm making cutouts in these lines, I have to think about all the little shifts while keeping that entire grid in mind, right? Same level of effort, same immense difficulty, just a different scale, right? It's the same thing with building muscle. You know, you always exert the same amount of energy, just the capacity for what you can carry and what you can endure is greatened, right? It's heightened. So same shit, exact same shit with any skill, with any progress. You always expend a lot of energy, right? And mental energy is a fucking hold up, 1 2 3 4 1 wait 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, 1 2 3 4. Okay, I do have to do one more vertical. I'm just trying to make it even, but yeah, you're always going to be expending a lot of energy, so do not be discouraged, do not be surprised, and expect many errors, and those errors are what's going to make you grow. So again, the errors are a good thing, okay? The errors are a good thing. You want to make as many fucking errors as possible. That was a thin ass line. What the fuck? I didn't even know I could do that right now. See? And now I'm gonna make it even more annoying for myself because I'm just gonna bring this up. See, that's an error. You see how these lines are broken? That's an error. Error. This needs to be a bit higher up. Right? Oh, see, that's an error too. I already made a mistake. That's overshooting. So this was a mistake. This accounted for what I thought wasn't a mistake. And then after I accounted for it, I realized, oh, it is a mistake. Right, but we can still fraud it a little bit. You know? And then again, like I'm thinking about all these lines. Right? There's lots of changes and mistakes to be made. And I'm still kind of improvising while I do this too, right? See, so that was a huge mistake right there. I could have fixed it, but I didn't know how. Something like that. That's so off. It's all off. It's hilarious, but that's how you learn, right? You can't feel bad from this. I can even just try to fix it like that. There you go. That fixed it a little bit, just a little, very lightly. But this is how we learn. And again, I'm also commentating while I'm doing this, which is extremely difficult because with each word, there's the possibility that I lose track of what I'm even saying and doing, just like I did right now. So do not be surprised at the energy you're expending, how difficult it is, how uncomfortable it is, because it's extremely fucking uncomfortable. But that is growth. That is growth. And if I can do it, you can do it. I love saying that because it's true. That's why I love saying it, because it's 100% true, right? And this is so difficult, you know. It didn't need to be this difficult, but this is the beauty of these little exercises that artwod gives, is the fact that we can make it as difficult as we want it to be. It just comes down to, again, I can make it as difficult as I want because, and this is just what I think, right? Like, I'm not too sure whether I'm going to be explaining this well enough, but the reason I'm able to make this as difficult as I want is because I've practiced different versions of this. I've practiced cutouts when it comes to more box-like shapes, like actual subtraction and addition in boxes, right? So when I can apply that to the plane and realize, oh, I can still make this hard. And there's many things in life you can make hard. This just happens to not have any blood flowing through it, but it's just flowing through your mind. See, this was horrible. Objectively, this is not good at all. This one, and that's okay. That's a good thing. You know, that if not being good is the first step to being slightly less bad, right? The fucking, what is that, like a South Park quote or some shit? The first step to being good at something is the first step to being kind of good at something is to be really bad at something. I don't fucking know. Yeah, see, I'm also trying to practice my lines, of course. Now, can I salvage this? You know, can we ignore? No, because I fucked that line up again. See? Yeah, fuck that line up again. Okay, so there's this one I fucked up too. And yeah. See, so that's an all in all complete mistake. This is just what is off about this, right? This is overshooting, this is undershooting. They're kind of diverging actually, that's the main thing. Yeah, right? So we'll do another vertical one and I'll do it again here. Because this clearly I struggle with this angle. Right, so why don't we do something like, see, and every time I make these mistakes with these lines where they're constantly breaking and shit like that, that's also really good, you know, because I want to be able to always have something to strive for, right? That's a mistake, see? That's also a mistake, couldn't carry the line. This was okay. This was okay. Still plenty of mistakes because this overshot it a little. This way overshot it. And then I kind of tried to fix it here. Yeah, you see? Very, very, very difficult. So what you should be doing is just normal planes. Just do rectangles and squares. If you're a beginner, just do rectangles and squares. But every so often, challenge yourself with just a slight addition or subtraction, right? To essentially showcase to yourself that, wow, there's so much more I can do, right? I haven't even started adding cylinder cutouts, half cylinder cutouts, quarter ellipse, or ellipse cutouts, right? Elliptical cutouts. I haven't started adding quarter, half, full, right? I haven't added any diagonals, right? In this perspective, there's so much more you can do with just a flat plane, right? Because it's all manipulations. It's all manipulations, you know? And we can go with curves and shit too, but I'm not even that. I'm not nowhere near that advanced level as because I have to really visualize the grid there, right? And again, I'm trying to think a little bit out right now. Sorry, I'm trying to think a little bit zoomed out right now. Yeah, see, it's hard. It's hard to think about this shit. So obviously, my focus needs more focus. That's the best way to say it. Yeah, like that. And I'm not trying to rely too much on the lines adjacent to these. I'm trying to actually just rely on my own visualization of the grid, right? So now we have how many verticals? 1, 2, 3, 4. Only what the fuck? Am I retarded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 horizontals. Ugh. Cool. Well, I might as well start making these look more interesting as well, right? And it's not as if it has to be cut out perfectly either. We can have slight variations. How much time has it been? It's been 41 minutes? Holy shit. Well, I'm surprised, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised because it goes to show how focused I was, but I'm not surprised because it goes to show how long just drawing essentially what, 11 11 planes, 11 slightly manipulated planes in 1 point perspective can take. So that's another thing. Really take your time, be patient. You know, you have your entire life to learn art, and I know that many of you, or some of you, however many of you, may actually be looking to be a professional in the specific part of the concept art industry, right? There may be a feeling of time running out, but the thing is, the time will pass anyways. So why not do our best to just be in the moment and learn the best that we can, right? You may have the liberty to draw more or less than me, but everybody has the liberty and the ability to learn, you know. And these little things I'm telling you about, the spacing effect and deriving effort and growth mindset, that's actually just expediting, again, the process. It's efficiency. It's extremely good. This is how your brain learns, right? You want to be uncomfortable. Right now, this fucking annoying and uncomfortable as shit, because I'm about to do something that's really difficult, which is draw from this angle. You see I'm holding my pen while thinking about the line, and it was slightly off, like the grid line, right? This is how we do it. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. That type of shit, right? There you go. There you go, and then I can keep. See, that was really hard. And again, that's why I draw my lines slowly and with intent. But yeah, this stuff takes time, so don't be in a rush. My first 8 months, I was always rushing, and I'm like, okay, think and then just do it. But now, anybody who watches or listens to me, even on a semi-consistent basis, you may have picked up on the fact that I do take my time, much to the detriment of your attention span. It's likely very frustrating because you're like, get to the fucking point. But I'm always getting to the point. I'm literally always at the point, right? No pun intended, vanishing point. But yeah, I'm always at the point. I'm always thinking. I'm literally always thinking. You see me always moving my hands around and doing little ghostings. That's me actively reinforcing my spatial reasoning in the grid lines, right? Even me doing this, I'm constantly thinking. So yeah, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by the speed, because the speed will come with time. To be honest, that's what all the really, really good artists say, right? Don't be so focused on speed, because you will get faster simply by proxy of getting the reps in. So let's do our best, you know, again, doing our best. It's not about being perfect, it's about doing our best. Let's do our best to get the best quality reps in that we can. what counts as a best quality rep, right? To the best of our ability, what counts as that? Simply one in which you make a lot of mistakes, a lot of errors, right? You enjoy those errors and you focus on the effort that you put forth while making those marks and those errors. That's it. That is the best quality rep, right? And visualizing and all that shit, like visualizing the grid, visualizing vanishing points in this context, right? Visualizing. So that's all we can do, because I think I said this in my Q&A, right? Art growth, skill in any endeavor, but art growth is exponential, you know. But the effort you place every day is linear. You know, it's always the same amount of effort. You know, you slightly get better at placing that effort, but I think I made a mistake here. I didn't think about the proportions enough. And now I might suffer for it. That's not horizontal either. See? I had to make them evenly enough so they don't look evenly spread at all, right? But I think they overall are okay. You know, proportions notwithstanding. Non-withstanding or notwithstanding? I can never remember. I think it's non-withstanding, right? Okay, cool. I'm gonna rest my brain. Yeah, I'm surprised it's already been 40 minutes in the sense that it goes to show, like, you get better at focusing over and over, right? As you keep practicing. So yeah. But I'm gonna rest my brain. It's cool. So when I do this for the second hour, either a second hour today, or I'm probably gonna maybe chill because the vacation's fucking me right now. Like the post, the post degeneracy glow, as they call it, after a fucking little day trip with friends, or like a few day trip with friends. But either I'm gonna do it again today or tomorrow. But I'm gonna focus on making even smaller, more intricate things around. Maybe they'll be maybe I'll actually make it so it's one plane, then another plane, then one plane again. Who knows? That may help even more, actually. So yeah, like where it's coming down this way and then this way. We'll see. Anyways, I'm gonna rest my brain. Yeah, it's funny. I even noticed myself, and it's like it's a 50-50 dichotomy of my videos. I'm either saying some super gay shit or I'm being extremely inspirational, right? Within the video or between the videos, right? Like one video like this will be like, "You can do it," and then another video will be like, "You guys are fucking gay. I hate all of you." So, oh, and also begging for money, right? So, I guess I just have to figure out the Viggy bit. What angle am I going for? You know, what is my brand? If my brand is my personality, then I'm absolutely fucked, which it seems to be the case. But okay, I have 12 minutes. I'm still trying to make this even, just for my own sake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I missed something. Fucking, I had to have missed something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. So let's do another vertical one up yonder, right? Because now that's gonna be really hard. That was pretty good. I probably didn't even trace it accurately, but it's pretty decent. And then I go. Obviously, I'm trying to think of more unique or interesting cutouts as well. Right? I don't want to keep sticking to the same basic formula. The intent was there, but the line was very inaccurate. There, that's a bit better. Now these lines are very poor. These lines are very poor. You see, you can still fraud it a little bit. That's the thing. If the lines are clean, you can still fraud it, surprisingly. And again, it's once you have many things that are constantly in the relatively... Oh, see, I fucked that up. I literally didn't even connect it. Once you have many things that are constantly in the relatively same perspective, it almost makes up... It's like if you have a lot of micro errors, but it's like a 50-50 ratio. The way I'm thinking about it, I'm just thinking out loud, right? This doesn't have to be anything specific for anybody to take into account, but I'm just trying to figure out why it works. Is because even if you have a lot of micro errors, if the vast majority of it still looks okay enough, the entire thing ends up looking relatively cohesive. That's the way I'm trying to explain why this doesn't look too bad. Okay, so this isn't bad. Yeah, doing almost a cutout like this, keeping it vertical is difficult. Yeah, very difficult. This is why I love this, right? Like, the further away you are, the harder it gets. And we always want it to be difficult. You never want to be learning and it not be difficult, which is why the whole growth mindset, focusing on the effort, works. Because I love doing difficult things now, especially with art. I didn't even want to draw today because, again, trust, the mental barrier exists. When you think about the most difficult or energy exerting aspect of the thing you're about to practice, which for me was visualizing the grid, right? When you think of that, before you've even done the practice, but when you just think about the height of discomfort of what you're about to do, you're immediately deterred from doing it, right? It's very normal, happens to everybody, which is why we must focus on just, okay, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna go to my chair. I'm just going to turn this ring light on, right? Is my ring light fucking... Hold up. Okay, no, it's at its brightest. For some reason, I just felt as if everything got darker for a second. I don't know why. But yeah, I just tried doing the next steps, right? I know it's difficult, but even then, I'm building the repetition. I'm building the skill, because I'm just trying to really think of everything as a skill, right? I'm building the skill of initiating my art practice, right? Yeah, I'm initiating the skill of building my art practice. So that in turn also motivates me to keep working at it. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying anymore. I'm just trying to focus on the grid. To zoom out as well, but I'm trying. Right? I'm not doing much ghosting right now, obviously, because I'm trying to do it intuitively. Right? Intuitively. Okay, that's not bad. And then we can just do something like this. This connects. See, this brings about the flaws as well. And the funny thing is, I literally might be creating more flaws as I pursue this, but who knows? Maybe that looks a bit more legit now. Who knows? Maybe a little bit, right? And it's nice to connect them. That's probably what I'm going to be really focusing on for either later today or tomorrow, which is, let's try unique ways in connecting all of this, right? We'll see how it looks. We'll see how it goes. Again, we got to keep working on my lines. It's good. Growth is good, my friends. And growth is difficult, which is why it's worth doing. If it wasn't worth doing, it wouldn't be difficult. Okay, see, that's off too. Attempt to fix it, or to at least maintain it, because these extreme angles actually throw me off quite a bit, right? And then we can try something like trying to maintain a perfectly parallel horizontal. These lines are very tough, right? Because obviously my line work needs work. And then it'd be something like here. I believe maybe a bit more. No way, that's way overshooting. Yeah, see, I completely overshot that. I was right the first time around when I thought I'd be around there. But now this is going all the way over here. And I should have kept that into account as well. There you go. This is by far the worst one, right? By far the worst one. But even this perhaps can be salvaged. There you go, see? So when these angles get super extreme, we have to... And it's so difficult because another thing is like zooming out is very hard, right? So I still have a little bit of a tendency to zoom in on the thing I'm doing and not focusing on the grand perspective of it all, right? But even that perhaps can be... Not perhaps, even that can be trained. Okay. This one we made slightly more difficult. Oh, okay. So yeah, see, this was very difficult, and I think it's pretty meh. For sure, it's pretty meh. Lines were poor because this is a very difficult angle for me to draw in, right? In terms of lines, line quality was poor. Perspective was definitely misaligned and very trippy, very difficult. What else? What else? I'm also gay, so there's that as well. I can't even fucking I can't even be like, but wait, there's more with fucking always stuttering. No, that's I'm just making a joke. I'm like, haha, I'm so happy. Haha. God. It's fucking pain. Max Payne, great game series. Never played it. I watched a walkthrough on it. I was one of those people. But that's when walkthroughs were good. Okay, so this is pretty decent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we definitely need more over here. I'll do one more of an extreme angle, because again, extreme angles are the most difficult, so it's important to pursue those. Right? Yeah, I'll do one more. And you see I lost so much there, but I was really like I lost a lot of visualization and perspective in this one. But it's also the tail end of my learning bout, so it's normal for focus to waver. And again, I'm trying my best. I'm literally expending as much effort and cognitive energy as possible. Something like this. I'm gonna change it up a little bit. Again, trying to keep my hands nice and loose. Keep my lines nice and loose. A little too loose, it was a bit curvy at the end. And I know how difficult it is even just to draw a horizontal line that's parallel. If you've never drawn consistent parallel lines before while thinking about even just another part of the perspective, right? In this case, just one more thing to think about, like something going this way or this way, and then a parallel line. That is also very difficult. So I want to keep emphasizing that art takes immense cognitive effort, right? But that's why, like, I'm learning piano. It's the same shit, you know. You just have to think really hard and enjoy what you're doing, and there's no rush. There's no rush. I'm sure there's a rush for many of you. I'm not discounting the fact that you have your priorities and you have your needs to learn. I'm not saying that you don't. All I'm saying is if you're gonna learn, do your best to enjoy learning. Otherwise, you're always gonna think you're not doing good enough. And I don't think we want to feel that way, but I believe it's a learned behavior that can be changed. And again, if I can do it, you can do it. I'm sure many of you are already better than me, but maybe you still struggle with the mindset thing. So even if what I'm doing is nothing impressive to you or informative to you, I would at least hope that you can take away a decent mindset out of it, because I think that's universal. Even Karl Kapinski is always saying shit like, "I'm not that good of an artist," and like this could be better and that could be better, and like, oh, god damn it. Even extremely proficient individuals struggle with that, right? All right. I'm just trying random shapes. There you go. Just kind of like cut it off there. Mistakes were there. This definitely was a mistake. This one right here. But I will cap it here because we have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, cool. Wonderful. And it's been an hour and 1 minute. I would obviously love to go for more, but I really gotta take a piss. And maybe I'm being a bit lazy, right? Maybe I'm being a bit lazy, but I'll fill this up in the next hour, whether it's today or tomorrow. Hopefully today, depending on how I feel, right? As in not in the sense that I want to rely on my feelings rather than discipline, but I also, just because I'm giving myself a little bit of leeway because I just came back from a little mini vacation, right? It's all cope at the end of the day, and it's all bullshit, and I should 100% be able to do the work, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And yeah, I hope this was informative. I hope the practice was fun. I hope you were drawing along, right? Keep me on the background, give me retention, as I say. So, and like, subscribe, you fucking piece of shit. If at this point you haven't liked or subscribed, do so. And because I've told you to, no, what the fuck, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, just because I told you to, I didn't have anything onwards to add from that drivel. But yeah, I mean, fucking like, subscribe, whatever. This channel's gonna blow up anyways, so it doesn't really matter. It's just a matter of time, right? That is the only matter. So, so yeah, I have no qualms about that. My skill will speak for itself, right? Not now, not tomorrow, not even next year or the year after that, but 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, right? That'll be 8 years total of drawing, and drawing the right way, right? I hope that was very polarizing. I want people to get angry and also like, comment, and subscribe. So with that being said, as always, fuck you for watching. Keep drawing, and please give me money. Thank you.